My wife texted me, going on a vacation with my ex. Do not be jealous. Reading that line, something in me did not explode. It went quiet. It was a hard rain night at my place just outside Atlanta, the two-story house I bought long before I ever met her. My 6-year-old son, Logan, sat at the kitchen table swinging his legs, laughing as I flew a spoon toward his mouth and made airplane sounds. Macaroni and cheese was our thing, simple, steady, ours. My phone buzzed on the counter. Ashley Miller, my wife of 8 years, the woman who once promised me forever and gave me my boy, was on the screen. I felt that warning tingle in my chest, the same one I had felt 3 months earlier when she started working late, took hushed calls in the hallway, and said vague stuff about finding herself and needing space. I opened the message. Going on a vacation with my ex. Do not be jealous. Time stretched thin. Rain hammered the windows. Logan's chatter faded into a soft hush. I stared at those 11 words like they might turn into something else if I read them enough times. Her ex could only mean Ryan Parker, the college boyfriend who dumped her after his family told him she was not good enough. Ryan had moved back to Atlanta recently, and I had heard his name more than once. The twist of the knife? Ryan was now married to Olivia Whitaker, one of the most connected and wealthy women in Georgia, the real power behind Whitaker Properties, a real estate empire. Ryan looked like the glossy accessory on her arm. By text, Ashley had basically admitted she was flying off with Olivia's husband. I set the spoon down. No shaking hands. No yelling. No smashed dishes. Logan looked up at me with those big brown eyes. Dad, are you okay? You look weird. I am good, buddy, I said, steady and light. Just thinking about work. Eat up. We need you strong. Like Superman? Exactly like Superman. I picked up my phone and typed slow, calm, and clear. Enjoy your vacation and take your time. She replied fast. That is it. No questions, no trying to stop me. My mouth made a smile that did not reach my heart. Why would I? You are an adult. Make your own choices. Her typing bubble blinked, went away, blinked again, then a new line popped up. I will be gone for 2 weeks. Maybe longer. Take as long as you need, I wrote back. Logan and I will be just fine. Somewhere, I swear I could hear a clock start. Not a bomb. A countdown. Not anger, a plan. Ashley put her phone down, probably happy she had shut me up. She had no idea she had just handed me the rope I needed. When Logan finally drifted into that deep, quiet sleep only a little kid can manage, I sat in the dim kitchen. The laptop was open, but I was not working. I kept looking at that message glowing on my phone. Casual, careless, cruel. 11 words that took the blinders off. I was not broken. I was decided. I would not rage or beg. I would take apart the mess with the same steady hands I used to build my business. By sunrise, I was in a glassy downtown office across from Michael Grant, a family attorney I knew through business contacts. Rain still clung to the streets. I laid my phone on his desk with the screen lit up. Morning, I said. I need this handled right. He glanced at the text, then at me. All right, he said. Let us get to work. Michael Grant stood when I walked in. He was tall and lean, gray at the temples, the kind of attorney people mention with a mix of respect and fear. I set my phone on his desk without saying a word. The screen glowed like a warning flare in the dark. He slid on his glasses, read the message once, then again, breathing out slow. She actually put this in writing. Last night, I said, keeping my voice level. She told me she would be gone at least 2 weeks, maybe longer. She left our 6-year-old without a second thought. Michael leaned back and pressed his fingertips together. This is not just reckless, he said. This is abandonment. In her own words, she admits she left a 6-year-old child to take a vacation with another man. Most judges will not need anything more than this. We can file for emergency temporary custody right now. Do it, I said. My tone was flat, but the decision was hard as a nail. By mid-morning, the petition was filed. Paper moved fast when the facts were this clean. Within hours, Michael called in a favor, and we had a same-day slot on the calendar. At 2 in the afternoon, I stood inside Fulton County Family Court. The room was worn around the edges, scuffed benches, heavy air, a judge who had seen every version of heartbreak pass through his doors. On a large courtroom display, my wife's text filled the screen in big letters. The bailiff dimmed the lights. You could hear the hum of the projector. Judge Harrison read the words carefully, then looked over his glasses. Ashley Miller is not present, he said. Her absence supports the claim of abandonment. A mother who chooses to leave her 6-year-old child to vacation with another man has neglected her parental responsibilities. Emergency temporary custody is granted to the father, pending a full hearing. The gavel cracked once, loud and final. I let out a long breath and felt my jaw pull tight. In less than 12 hours from the moment that message hit my phone, I had legal custody of my son. Ashley thought she had sent a taunt to make me chase her. What she sent was the first page of her own undoing. Out in the hallway, Michael put a steady hand on my shoulder. She handed you every advantage, he said. Every day she stays gone makes your case stronger. By the time she shows her face in this room, she will already be behind. That evening I was back in the kitchen, flipping grilled cheese in a pan while cartoons bounced across the television. Logan sat cross-legged on a chair, laughing at the slapstick. The house smelled like butter and toast. My phone buzzed. Another message from Ashley lit the screen. The weather here is perfect. You should try living a little instead of working all the time. I stared at the words for a beat. I could hear her tone, bright and smug, like she imagined me alone and bitter while she soaked up the sun with someone else's husband. She had no idea I had just left the courthouse with a signed order in my pocket. I typed slow and even. I am glad you are having fun. Logan is fine. I set the phone down and turned the sandwiches. Across the table, my son laughed at a goofy character trying to push a door marked pull. He had no idea there was a battle going on for his future and that I was winning it without raising my voice. Ashley thought she was on vacation. A judge had signed the custody order that morning. That was step 1. I knew what step 2 had to be. At sunrise, I shaved clean, put on a pressed shirt, and drove to our bank, the branch where everyone knew my name from years of deposits, mortgage payments, and small talk about the Bulldogs. I walked straight to the desk of the branch manager, Linda, a woman who had watched me go from a single homeowner to a married father. She stood when she saw the court order in my hand. "Good morning," she said, warm but cautious. "What can I do for you today?" I placed the papers on her desk and spoke plain. "I need to protect my son. I want every joint account frozen immediately, and I want the balances moved into new accounts under my name with a custodial trust for Logan. My wife abandoned our child. I have emergency temporary custody." Linda read every line. Her pen tapped once, twice, then stopped when she found the judge's seal and the case number. She looked up and nodded. "This is clear," she said. "With temporary custody in place, we are obligated to act in the best interest of the child. We will close her access, freeze the joint accounts, and open new accounts in your name only. Any cards tied to her profile will stop working within 24 hours. I gave a small nod. No gloating. No smile. This was not celebration. This was procedure. For the next 2 hours, we moved through the checklist. New account numbers issued. Old debit cards deactivated. Lines of credit placed under my control. I signed where she flagged, flipped pages when she turned them, and kept my voice steady. When the last form slid into the scanner, I pictured a server somewhere pinging the beach bar where Ashley would try to swipe a card that no longer had a lane to run on. Precision, not revenge. One piece at a time, locked into place. When I stepped out of the bank, it felt like I had shut off the main valve that kept Ashley's lifestyle humming. Money had been the quiet engine behind the dinners, the salon visits, and the little treat-yourself boxes that showed up on our porch. Now the engine was cold. That evening, Logan knelt on the rug and raced 2 toy cars in tight circles, making the kind of breathy engine sounds only a kid can. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. I glanced down and saw a photo fill the screen. Ashley on a balcony, the ocean behind her that perfect postcard blue. "Wish you were here. The food is amazing." I did not answer. I set the phone face down and watched my boy laugh. His whole world was these cars, and that cartoon on low volume. The innocence in his eyes made me steadier, not softer. In a few hours, she would learn what it feels like when the card machine says declined, and the world does not bend for her anymore. But money was only step 1. I needed proof. Cold, clean proof a judge could not shrug off. I picked up the phone and scrolled to a number I had not used in years. Jack Mitchell, private investigator. His reputation stretched from boardrooms to courthouses, the kind of guy executives called when they needed facts and not stories. He answered on the second ring, voice gravelly and alert. "Ethan Cole," he said. He remembered. "What can I do for you?" "I need surveillance," I told him. My wife is on vacation with another man. I want photographs a judge cannot ignore. Who was the man? Ryan Parker. There was a small silence, just a breath. The husband of Olivia Whitaker. Yes. He let out a low whistle. That changes things. Olivia Whitaker is the power behind Whitaker Properties, one of the biggest privately held real estate outfits in Georgia. Ryan may smile for the society pages, but she owns the levers. If she finds out, that is exactly what I am counting on, I said, keeping my tone even. How fast can you locate them? Give me her number and any recent flight details, he said. I will have them pinned down inside 48 hours, 72 at the outside. I will deliver photographs you can put 10 feet wide on a courtroom screen. No one will be able to deny anything. Do it. I ended the call and leaned back in my chair, eyes on the slow spin of the ceiling fan. I pictured Ashley clinking glasses with Ryan, laughing like she had traded up. I pictured Ryan smirking like he had won something that belonged to him. And then I pictured Olivia Whitaker, a woman who can quiet a room with one look, pulling a stack of glossy 8x10s from a manila envelope. I did not need much imagination to see what would happen next. It was only a matter of time. By the time I tucked Logan in that night, the plan felt like a knot pulling tight. Ashley thought she had escaped to paradise. What she could not see was that every drink, every kiss, every loose laugh on that beach would be documented, time-stamped, and delivered to the one person with the power to crush Ryan's world in a single afternoon. Ashley thought she had found freedom. What she really did was open the first chapter of her own fall. The next morning, I woke with the same steady gear I had used for the courthouse and the bank. Custody was secured on paper. Finances were locked. But our house still smelled like her perfume and looked like her closet. The bottles lined up on the vanity, dresses claiming half the hangers, frames from vacations she had not cared about in a long time. Every room had a reminder I did not need. I knew the next step. I called Atlanta Premier Moving Services, the discreet outfit folks in this city use when lives split down the middle. Full pack out of the designated items, I said. Immediate delivery to Marietta. They did not need more backstory. They had carried heavier endings than mine. By noon, a white box truck idled at the curb. I saw curtains twitch on both sides of the street. 3 movers in clean uniforms came in with tape guns and a stack of flattened boxes. I walked them through the house calmly, one room at a time. Everything feminine in the primary bedroom, I said. Her side of the closet, the vanity, all jewelry, perfumes, the nightstand on her side of the bed. Any framed photograph where she is alone goes. Leave anything with my son in it. The crew chief nodded and set his team in motion. Hangers whispered along the rod. Dresses slid into garment bags. Jewelry made a soft clink as it settled into velvet trays. In the bathroom, drawers opened and closed. Makeup and lotions wrapping into tissue with crisp, practiced motions. The room filled with that powdery floral scent she favored, and then it thinned as each bottle disappeared into cardboard. By early afternoon, the living room was lined with sealed boxes, black marker labels running neat down each side. Ashley, bedroom. Ashley, bathroom. Ashley, personal. 8 years of marriage, reduced to shapes and tape, stacked like cargo waiting on a dock. Final load, Mr. Cole, the crew chief said, wiping his forehead with the back of his wrist. I handed him an envelope and a folded slip of paper. Deliver to this address, I said. 47 Oak Ridge Drive, Marietta. Leave every box on the front porch. He tucked the paper into his chest pocket and gave a short nod. The truck door slammed, the lift gate whined up, and the engine rumbled away, carrying the last of Ashley's presents with it. The house was quiet. I walked back to the primary bedroom and stood in the doorway. The vanity was bare. The closet looked wider. The air felt cleaner, like the windows had been cracked open even though they had not. It was not victory. It was just the right thing, done in the right order. One piece at a time. Precision, not revenge. The closet looked cavernous without her dresses. The vanity sat bare, the glass top catching the afternoon light. The air felt strangely clean. For the first time in months, the room felt like mine again, quiet, uncluttered, honest. That evening, Jack Mitchell, the private investigator, called with an update. Found them, he said. Resort in Cancun, registered under Ryan Parker's name. 1 week after Ashley's careless message detonated in my kitchen, 7 days of custody filings, bank freezes, moving trucks, and silence. Jack showed up at my front door with a thick manila envelope that felt heavy enough to tilt someone's world. I waited until Logan was busy lining up action figures in his room before I spread the contents across the coffee table. Photographs slid out in a clean sequence. Ashley's hand resting on Ryan's chest at a candlelit dinner. The two of them strolling arm in arm under palm trees, faces tipped toward each other with the comfort of old lovers, their bodies close on a private balcony, lantern light carving soft shadows across their shoulders. And then the anchor shot. Dusk on the beach, the sky rinsed in orange and violet. Ashley wore the diamond necklace I had bought her years ago. She was laughing as Ryan kissed the hollow at the base of her throat. No one looking at that image could mistake what they were seeing. Jack pushed a second stack my way, supporting materials. Receipts. Timestamps. A printed itinerary under Ryan Parker with the dinner reservation circled. You asked for courtroom quality, he said, voice even. This is 7 days, fully documented. Any judge, any jury, any spouse, this holds. I picked the worst of the photographs, the balcony, the beach at dusk, and slid them into a fresh envelope. On the front, I printed a single name in block letters, Olivia Whitaker. Whitaker Tower knifed into the sky above Peachtree Street, the glass catching late sun like a blade. I crossed the marble lobby, stated my purpose, and a security guard keyed me into a private elevator that climbed without a wobble to the 60th floor. Power lived in that office without needing to shout. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Atlanta skyline. Art worth more than houses hung spare on limestone walls. At the desk sat Olivia Whitaker, silver hair coiled smooth, posture faultless, eyes that could quiet a boardroom. You have something for me? She asked. I set the envelope on her desk. She opened it with slow precision and lifted each photograph in turn. She did not gasp. She did not curse. Her expression cooled degree by degree as she paged through a week of betrayal. When the last photo lay flat, she squared the stack with 2 neat taps and looked up. Who are you? Ethan Cole. The woman is my wife. How long? A week. Documented. She told me she would be gone, too. Olivia considered that in a long, controlled silence. You could feel the weight of it. Then she picked up her phone, dialed a single number, and pressed speaker. Olivia, Ryan's voice came soft and smiling. Did not expect to hear from you. I told you this Miami trip might. You have 24 hours to return to Atlanta, Olivia said, tone level as a plumb line. If you do not bother coming back at all. Silence. Then a stumble. Olivia, She ended the call before he could finish. She slid the photographs back into the envelope and handed it to her assistant with a nod. Then she met my eyes. Thank you, Mr. Cole. You have given me what I needed. You deserve the truth, I said. I rode the elevator down as the late sun bled across the tower's glass. My reflection looked small in the skin of a building with her name on it. Behind me, something bigger than I could steer had already started to turn its gears. I thought of Jack's dry chuckle on the phone earlier that week. They are not being discreet. You will have photos by the end of the week. Make sure they are clear, I had told him. No ambiguity. Trust me, he said. They are not hiding in shadows. You will have images good enough to hang in a courtroom gallery. Back in my truck, I checked my screen. Dozens of missed calls and voicemails, none from Ashley. All from her parents. I knew why. The movers had stacked every box on their porch that afternoon. They had been blindsided by the sight of their daughter's life piled waist-high in neat cartons. They spent all day trying to reach her, but Ashley had silenced her main number the first night of her trip, boasting to Ryan that she did not want distractions. That choice, pure arrogance, cut her off from the only people who might have softened this. Across the water, Ashley stretched on a resort chaise, sunglasses tipped against the sun, posting filtered sunsets and tall cocktails. She had no idea her clothes were stacked in her parents' garage, her marriage reduced to taped cardboard. Her perfume bled out of the rooms I now walked through like they were new. She thought she was escaping. She was being erased. And the call upstairs had ended with nothing but a single sentence. You have 24 hours to return to Atlanta. If you do not bother coming back at all. No threats. No explanation. Just an ultimatum. I did not witness what happened next in that seaside restaurant, but the timeline and the statements we later pulled make the picture clear. Ryan Parker sat frozen over a linen tablecloth while the sound of the surf and the clink of silver faded into a hollow roar. His grip went white around his phone. Ryan, Ashley asked, leaning in. What is it? What did she say? He did not answer. Olivia Whittaker never wasted words. If an order left her lips, wheels were already turning. I need to leave, he muttered at last, pushing back his chair. Leave? You mean tonight? I said I need to leave. His voice cracked like thin glass. He threw a wad of bills on the table, yanked on his jacket, and headed for the door. Ryan, wait, Ashley called, drawing stairs. What is going on? You are scaring me. He did not turn. Near midnight, he stuffed clothes into a suitcase, shouldered past her questions in the doorway, and delivered the only thing that resembled an explanation. Do not call me. Do not follow me. Stay if you want. I do not care. Then he was gone, leaving a luxury suite with a half-empty closet and shoe prints pressed into the carpet. Before dawn, Ryan's flight touched down in Atlanta. His ride crept up the long drive to the Whittaker estate, iron gates glowing under floodlights. He rehearsed apologies on his way in, words about mistakes and love and second chances. He pictured Olivia waiting in the foyer, cold but willing to hear him out if he groveled enough. Instead, she stood at the gates themselves, flanked by 2 attorneys in tailored suits and a security chief with a clipboard. Olivia, he began, dragging the suitcase. You are late, she said evenly. Sign here. An attorney thrust a stack into his hands. The top page, petition for divorce. The next, order freezing assets. The third, notice of restraint, Whittaker Properties. Ryan's signature was nowhere. Olivia's flowed in black ink along the bottom of each page. What is this? His voice frayed as he flipped through, each sheet tighter around his chest than the last. This, Olivia said, cool as granite, is the end of your business trip. Olivia, please. You have 30 minutes, she cut in, calm and precise. Collect what personal belongings you can carry. After that, your access codes will be disabled. You will not set foot on this property again. The gates swung inward, not for him, but to admit a waiting moving van, ready to inventory and lock away whatever would not fit in a single carry. Ryan's knees almost buckled. He clutched the papers like he could hold his life together by squeezing them. You cannot do this, he whispered. I already have. She had, and the proof was moving. The attorneys turned away, already on their phones, filing motions and triggering holds. The security chief checked his watch and began the count. Ryan staggered up the drive with his suitcase. The mansion loomed dark, no foyer lights, no warmth, just glass and stone. It was no longer his. Every step rang with the fact that his life had been taken apart before the wheels of his plane even kissed the runway. By sunrise, the man who had lured Ashley Miller away with old memories and borrowed glamour was homeless in everything but name. No codes, no keys, a single suitcase, and a stack of papers that stamped him as discarded. Meanwhile, across the water, Ashley woke alone in Cancun. The bed beside her was cold. His side of the closet was empty. His toiletries were gone. She called the concierge. Mr. Parker checked out during the night. Ma'am, the clerk said gently. He paid in cash. He said he was leaving immediately. Ashley stared at the turquoise horizon with a hollow stomach. She thought she was living a dream. Instead, paradise was a quiet room and no messages. I had not answered a text from her in more than a week. Her parents' calls had stacked up on the secondary number she never checked, left to ring against a voicemail box she had muted on night 1 so there would be no distractions. That choice, arrogance dressed up as freedom, cut her off from the very people who might have softened the fall. 2 days later, she still had not slept. She sat hunched on the edge of the hotel bed, the concierge's words replaying on a loop. Checked out during the night. Paid in cash. Leaving immediately. Outside, the water glittered. Inside, the echo of her own decisions got louder. And in Atlanta, a woman named Olivia Whittaker was showing Ryan Parker exactly what it means to run afoul of someone who actually owns the levers. Even Ryan's number began to ring into nothing, like he had been erased overnight. At the resort, the staff approached Ashley with careful politeness. The balance on the room was due. The card on file had declined. She tried another, then another. Each time the clerk's smile thinned. After a long, humiliating stretch at the front desk, she pulled a final option from her wallet, a debit card tied to a small personal savings account she had kept hidden from me. The balance was not much, but it covered the bill and a one-way flight home. On the plane, she built a story and repeated it to herself like a prayer. She would land in Atlanta, smooth things over, cry if she had to. I was a kind man, she told herself. I would not let her twist for long. Maybe Ryan's sudden disappearance would even work in her favor. For Logan's sake, if nothing else, I might forgive. That story lasted right up until the driver turned onto our street. The lawn I had cut for years now wore a bright red sold sign, planted firm like a marker in the ground. Two unfamiliar cars sat in the driveway. Through the front window, she could see movement. A woman carrying dishes, children running, laughter floating out as if the house had always belonged to them. Ashley stumbled from the car with her suitcase and ran to the door. She jammed her key into the lock and twisted, again and again. Nothing. The tumblers did not know her anymore. She pounded until the woman from the window opened the door a cautious inch. "Can I help you?" The woman asked, polite but protective. "This is my house," Ashley gasped. "I live here. My husband." "I am sorry," the woman said, shaking her head. "We bought this house last week. The agent said the previous owner had already moved out." Ashley's legs folded. She sank onto the porch steps and clutched the suitcase like it could anchor her to a past that was already gone. Her phone buzzed in her hand. A message from her mother. "Madeline, where have you been? Your boxes are here. We have been calling you for days. Come home immediately." "Boxes?" She flagged down the driver, voice shaking as she gave my Marietta address. The ride felt like a slow funeral. Every mile pulled her farther from the life she had dressed up and closer to the childhood she once could not wait to escape. When the car stopped, she saw them. Rows of cardboard cartons stacked neatly along the porch, labeled in bold black marker. Ashley, bedroom. Ashley, bathroom. Ashley, personal. 8 years of marriage, reduced to corrugated skin and packing tape. Her mother opened the door before Ashley could knock. Diane Miller's eyes were tired, rimmed with worry. "Madeline," she whispered, "what have you done to your life?" Inside, her father, Frank Miller, sat at the kitchen table with reading glasses low on his nose. A thick envelope of legal paperwork lay open in front of him. He did not look up. "These came today," he said, voice flat. Ashley's hands trembled as she slid out the pages. Petition for dissolution, custody filing, exhibits. The first page alone knocked the air out of her. Grounds, abandonment, and adultery. She turned another page and found her own words reproduced in black and white. "Going on a vacation with my ex. Do not be jealous." A sentence she had typed in seconds now sat as the cornerstone of her undoing. Behind it came the photographs, some grainy at the edges, but devastatingly clear. Her face tilted back in laughter. Her hand threaded with Ryan's. Lantern light on the balcony. The dusk shot on the beach. Every moment of the fantasy captured, documented, and set gently on the table like evidence in a case she could not win. She pressed a hand to her mouth. The room tilted. "No," she whispered. "This cannot be. This cannot be happening." Diane reached for her shoulder. Ashley jerked away, staring down at the stack as if sheer will could bleach the ink from the pages. "I need a lawyer," she croaked, the words hollow even as they came out. "With what money?" Frank asked, his gaze hard. "The joint accounts are locked. Your cards do not work. That man left you stranded, and Ethan has already moved on. All you have left is us, and boxes." Ashley sank into a chair with the papers shaking in her hands. The trip she thought would set her free had become the chain that pulled her under. Tomorrow, the court would make that fact official. The following week, she stood outside Fulton County Family Court in a borrowed navy dress from her mother's closet. The hem was a little too long. The fabric had a dated sheen, but it was the closest thing to dignity she had left. Her own clothes, the ones she had once worn like armor, sat folded in cardboard in her parents' garage. That morning her attorney canceled, citing non-payment of the retainer. With no money, no access to joint funds, and every credit card coming back dead, Ashley took the only help she could get, a last-minute court appointment. The public defender shook her hand like it was a formality and said his name was Daniel Grayson. He was honest in a way that hurt. "I only had time to skim your file," he admitted, sliding into the chair beside her. His tie was crooked. His legal pad was nearly blank. Across the aisle, I stood with Michael Grant. Fresh gray suit, clean press, posture straight. I felt steady. Logan sat in the gallery with the Guardian ad litem, feet swinging, a soft smile on his face like the noise of grown-up trouble could not reach him. The bailiff called the room to order. Judge Harrison took the bench, adjusted his glasses, and read out our case number. Michael rose first. Your Honor, this matter is straightforward. My client, Ethan Cole, seeks permanent custody of his 6-year-old son and dissolution of marriage on the grounds of abandonment and adultery. The evidence is direct and documented. He clicked a small remote. The courtroom monitor woke up. The first slide filled the screen, a screenshot of Ashley's text. Going on a vacation with my ex. Do not be jealous. You could feel the air pull tight. A few people actually gasped. This is not speculation, Michael said evenly. These are her own words. She stated her intent to leave the child and confirmed the presence of an extramarital partner. She also indicated the absence might extend. There is nothing ambiguous about it. Click. Photographs rolled in. Beach, restaurant, elevator corridor, balcony. Date and time stamps branded the corner of each image. Jack Mitchell had done his work like a clockmaker. This documentation covers a full week, Michael said. While my client cared for their child and sought relief from the court, Mrs. Miller vacationed with Mr. Ryan Parker, who is married to Ms. Olivia Whitaker of Whitaker Properties. The collateral damage outside this courtroom is real, but we are not here for gossip. We are here for the welfare of a 6-year-old who was left behind. Grayson stood, cleared his throat, and gripped the lectern. Your Honor, my client was under serious emotional distress. She needed space to think. Judge Harrison lifted a hand, tired and firm. Counselor, a mother may need space, but she does not abandon a 6-year-old child without provision. She certainly does not create written and photographic records of that decision. Michael did not waste the moment. We request full legal and physical custody for Mr. Cole, confirmation of property rights, and denial of alimony. The marital home was purchased by my client prior to marriage and remains his separate property. Financial accounts were restructured on counsel's advice to protect the child. Mrs. Miller has no claim. The judge leaned forward and scanned the file laid out before him. He took his time. When he began to speak, his voice left no room for daylight. The evidence of abandonment is overwhelming. Custody is awarded to Mr. Cole. Mrs. Miller's visitation is suspended pending psychological evaluation and further order of the court. The residence remains Mr. Cole's separate property. Financial claims are denied. Divorce is granted. The gavel cracked the room like a hammer on a nail. I turned, took Logan's hand, and let a small smile find my face. Come on, buddy, I said. Let us go get that ice cream I promised. We walked out together, sunlight spreading across the marble as the courthouse doors swung open. Behind us, Ashley did not move. She sat clutching the edge of the defense table, eyes glassed, hands shaking. She had come with nothing, and somehow she was leaving with less. That night, back in her childhood bedroom, the walls still the same pale color from years ago, the boxes of her life lined shoulder to shoulder along the baseboards, an envelope slid under the door. She tore it open with unsteady fingers. The note inside was short. My handwriting, even and precise. You told me not to be jealous. I am not. Logan is safe. The house was never ours. It was mine before you ever came. You wanted freedom. Now you have it. Enjoy the life you chose alone. The paper fell from her hands. She folded onto the quilt her mother had stitched when she was a girl and cried into the seams. In 2 weeks, she had gambled a family on a fantasy and lost everything that mattered. I never shouted. I never raised a hand. I did not even raise my voice. I took the mess apart piece by piece, with her own words as the rope she tied. If you are still listening, tell me what you would have done in my boots. Was my response too hard, or just honest? Share your thoughts below, then like and subscribe for more true-to-life stories.